So, if you're here, I assume you're here to learn about Ultrakill Lore. This is very long and complicated. So much to the point where I assume that I might actually finish the entirety of what I'm planning on doing before I get done. So grab anything really. And without further ado, let me jump into this. Okay, there we go. So the story all begins with the end of humanity. Humanity got trapped in this war, which was World War I for us. But instead, for them, they ended up going a bit too far. So what happened was the first thing that happened was the invention of a machine called the Guttermen. Now, the Guttermen were like these big, tanky machines who ran off blood. They were the first machines of this series, that were invented in Ultrakill. However, they do not appear first for us. Instead, they are one of the enemies in violence, which is full of those guys. But for the Guttermen, there was a problem. How was there supposed to be fuel if they were supposed to be like long-range attackers? Because if they weren't, they could possibly put themselves in danger and cause a lot of damage. Oh god. And by damage, I mean they costed so much that just losing one, this is all my speculation, just by one being taken out, it could probably, considering today's economy, put that country in a decent amount of debt. Although there were definitely going to be a lot of them lost. Not many would be close range attackers. So what happened with the Guttermen was they decided that, hey, these guys can't be like close-up attackers, they can't fuel themselves with blood. So what humanity ended up doing was possibly, it was kind of useless, if I'm being honest. What they did was us, in the Ultrakill universe, decided to attach a coffin with a body inside of it. Now, Guttermen had to run on a fresh blood, kind of like V1, person who you play as in Ultrakill. They had solved the thing, but it came with a huge sacrifice. They couldn't find enough volunteers to be trapped inside the Guttermen. Which, I mean, fair point. I wouldn't want to be trapped inside a giant, like, machine in a state of being basically in purgatory, where you're neither alive nor dead. And then the problem for everyone else came up. the Guttermen were an unstoppable force. They could clear out entire trenches, and just one of them being dropped in, which these things kind of look like nukes. So, I'm surprised nuclear warfare didn't come up, but, okay, so during this time, when they had found out about the Guttermen, and how there was like, no way, there's basically like, no way to stop these guys, right? They were huge, tanky, there was almost no way to stop them, until the gutter tanks were invented. They were also blood-fueled machines, except they could go for close-range combats, via punching, as we see in the game, or they could also do what we also see in game, and throw rockets everywhere, which is almost one of the most annoying things they do. Because of those rockets, with those rockets, they could also create mines out of explosives. Forget about it. With the rockets, they could go for long-range distances, which put them at an advantage to be able to attack, in both close range, melee, and long range. But then, humanity got a little greedy. They wanted more out of the gutter tanks. And they did get more. They installed the ability for the gutter tanks to be able to place down mines, which would trap the enemies. Or, no, not trap them, rather, once the enemy stepped on them, they would blow up, like in real life. This could stop trenches, could stop guttermen, and it could also trap the trenches in case future enemies came there. But again, the same problem arose. What are we supposed to do against the guttermen? Or, not the guttermen, the gutter tanks. And the solution came up. We need something bigger. We needed something better. We needed the thing that could carry almost an entire city on it. We needed a cold tower of steel. Something beautiful that was elongated, stretched out like antennas to heaven. This was the THR-1000 Earth Mover, aka Benjamin. Now, there were multiple of these things put into production because they were just so good. Like, they could do a lot of damage in just one go, and it was really good. Now, to go into detail about the THR-1000 movers, they could stomp out like entire cities. These things were among the greatest of the things they have made. In fact, in Ultrakill, they're stated to be supreme machines, the same as V2 and V1, which we'll get to later. The Earth Movers were so big that they had to run on solar energy. And not to mention, these things had a whole entire rail cannon built into them. Like, just to show you, this thing that I'm holding right here, this is a rail cannon. Look what it does. Yeah, that's only a miniature version. These guys had super big versions of them. When I mean that, if you look closely at the Earth Mover's design, you may think the thing on the side of its arm, you may think it's a spear, right? No, that's its rail cannon. The tip of it can, like, kind of explode or send off huge waves of electricity. Dang it. They can send off huge waves of electricity in order to, well, neutralize entire cities. If any of you have ever seen, The End of Humanity, an Ultrakill fan animation, you'll probably have seen a scene where the Earth Mover ends up charging up its rail cannon and deleting like an entire thing, an entire like army, mob of people off the face of the earth. This was a great advancement. And you'll never guess what? The same problem arose. How do we beat these guys? They can take out entire cities. What are we supposed to do against these? And in that, we found a solution. The solution was to make a more nimble creature. And we wanted this to be not so expensive. Which is where V1 comes in. V1 was a prototype, and this is only a theory, but it's heavily implied to be canon. V1 was a prototype made to take down the Earth Movers. It's colossal creatures that had a defense system and all. I couldn't say what wasn't good about them. But there was a problem with V1. He was too expensive. He couldn't be mass-produced. So, he was scrapped. But the thing I don't know is how do we play as him in Ultrakill if he's, like, dead now? Or if he was scrapped at all. There is an answer to this. I'm just kidding, there's not. I don't know why. But after V1 was decommissioned, they saw the body. They saw the body. They saw the design. They saw the whole shtick of it, if you will. And this was really good for them. They had basically just found out like mass production thing that could be sent out. And you may be wondering, hey, what is this mass production thing? Well, I lied. There isn't a mass production. There isn't a mass production thing. There's a multiple. And what was their multiple of? Well, these things were named the turrets, the swords machine, and of course, the drones. The drones were these little flying creatures that could easily, like, take out at least one person, but they struggled to do anything on their own, which was kind of bad, to say the least. And then, the turrets. The turrets, let me go to the terminal so I can actually show these off. The turrets are these little guys right here. You can see they have like these cute little paws. No, they're called sentries. I lied, they're sentries. They would implant themselves into the ground. Again, if y'all have ever seen The Extinction of Humanity, that fan animation, you'll know that sometimes they would hide among like skulls, dead bodies, because I mean, it's war, there's a ton of these. And the swords machine, they were these large greater machines with like chainsaw swords, which were really cool. As you just saw, I previously fought him in Interlude 0.3. He was a really fun boss. He's a really cool character too, which is something I really want to point out. The Swords Machine is personally one of my favorite characters from Ultrakill. He's an amazing character, right? But the Swords Machine were a great counter to the Guttermen, the turrets, and the drones. They were awesome. They were able to be massively produced. They were able to be massively produced, or mass production. Ignore me. Which was awesome. Really good for humanity. Yay! They've like found a good way to like, oh no. But in this state, there was one massive problem that humanity didn't know how to counter. The Earth Movers. The Earth Movers were still a massive problem. And this problem was unable to be solved for a while. It was a really big one. And the main problem with the Earth Movers was, as I talked about previously, they run off solar energy. Solar energy makes a lot of pollution. Which is a really bad thing for humanity. Because this kept building up and building up and building up and building up in the atmosphere. And nobody knows how to stop it. Nobody knows how to stop it. This eventually led to the event, which is now named the Longest Night. The longest night was, well, a long night. Of course it is. What was this night caused by, exactly, you may ask? This night was not really a night. It was where the sun was covered up by how much pollution the THR 1000 Earth Movers were called, were doing, aka Benjamin. Benjamin was doing very naughty things. He was causing a lot of disaster, if you will. These disasters, again, led to a major problem. How do we stop this? What do we do? How are we supposed to counter this? Like, we were out of ideas. That eventually led to this massive era of peace, which was founded as the New Peace. The New Peace was, I already said this. The New Peace was enforced by everybody living on the back of these Earth Movers. Because what's better than living on the back of a giant robot? I mean, of course, there's no other safer place out there than on the back of a massive robot where, like, nobody can climb. The defense system also protected them. let me try and do a tech. The defense system also protected them. Dang it! The defense system also protected them from, like, any oncoming threats. What? But again, new piece was awesome. Ew! Okay, you guys need to die. The new piece was awesome. It stopped the final war, of course. That immediately makes it awesome. And so, what happened with the new piece? What we're inventing in the piece, rather. What happened was they invented the street cleaners. The guys with the flamethrowers that you're gonna see soon. Oh my god, first P rank. Sorry, I'm sorry. But the street cleaners were meant to clear up the atmosphere from the destruction of which humanity has caused. It was a good idea. Robots with flamethrowers. What could go wrong? But humanity also thought of this, like, hey, what if something went wrong, like with the gutter men, the gutter tanks, all of that. So what they did was they installed little gas tanks onto the back of the street cleaners. What did these gas tanks do exactly? Well, they were basically a kill switch. These gas tanks would immediately kill the street cleaner if, like, shot or anything. So yes, you can imagine how good that was. They had a backup plan. They had everything wrong. They had everything good. What could go wrong with the street cleaners? Oh yes, I forgot to mention during the end of the final war, when street cleaners and all that, or no, not street cleaners, when sentries, drones, and swords machines were invented, they also invented the Mind Flayer, which you'll eventually see later. You gotta be kidding me. Mind Flayer was this, like, being made of plastic and stuff that had a body it could aesthetically choose, but oh well, we're not on that right now. We're still on the new piece. Eventually, like I said earlier, how V1 was, like, a massive failure. He was too expensive, they didn't know what to do with him. V2 was founded. Now, V2 was made to enforce this whole thing of peace and prosperity and whatnot. So, V2 was also a failure. And was not needed. And V2 was also scrapped, like how V1 was. Because of this, like I pointed out earlier, V2 was decommissioned and will never be used again. But everything led up to this one event, the Hell Expedition. The Hell Expedition was when humanity decided to, like, hey, you know what, why don't we just go to hell? They did exactly that. And they tried to find life, and they tried to move on from Earth and find life in hell. all of them died during the Hell expedition. They sent their gutter men, gutter tanks, the drones, everything, as you can see. They even sent the Earth Movers. V1 wasn't sent yet, but V2 was, which is why you encounter him in what I'm about to show. Or what's coming up. You gotta be kidding me. Hold up. V2 was sent to Limbo, in which he just stayed there. And now, we don't know exactly what wiped out the rest of humanity. We don't know, like, if it was just, like, if it was the husks, if it was the Earth Movers turning on them, but it is heavily implied that that Hell itself killed them. Now, we move on to another thing. Blood is fuel. Humanity is dead, and hell is full. We get to the main story of Ultrakill. Ha ha ha! Just kidding. No, we're going to talk about the Divine Council. Or not the Divine Council. What happened in heaven this whole time? Now, with hell and everything going on, or with hell and stuff all happening, you may be wondering, like, what the heck's... Yes, this is peak music. Sorry. What the heck's going on in heaven? Like, what are the angels doing to like, do stuff about this? Well, I have a special answer for you. They were trying to recover. Recover from what, you may ask? Recover from the absence of God. Now, something that's not directly stated, but we know, is that God just left. He straight up left. He knew humanity was a failure. He knew that there was nothing he could do to help. He knew that there was nothing humanity could do. And he went on to make a new civilization. We don't know much about this, except in the terminal entries, which I previously skipped. We don't know much about this, but what we do know is that, you shut up. But what we do know is that it was a failure. It was a failure again and again and again and again and again. No matter what God tried to do, he couldn't succeed. Now, God is either dead or he's somewhere we don't know. Most likely somewhere we don't know. I heavily doubt that something could kill God or God ended his own life, considering that was literally one of the punishments. Or literally one of the sins that he came up with. So I heavily doubt that happened. So with the absence of God, heaven was still at the moment trying to recover from his absence, because, like, what are they supposed to do without their, like, divine ruler, without what their whole thing ran off of? What were they going to do? Well, they invented the Holy Council. The Holy Council was made to take God's place. And with it taking his place, it took years and years and years to form, eventually succeeding. And they ruled over heaven. They ruled over the virtues. They ruled over everything, because they were the supreme leaders now. And with them being supreme leaders, it was quite difficult to, like, do anything against them. Hello, Hank. So, Heaven didn't. They followed through with this plan and everything. And this plan worked. Gabriel ended up bowing to them. Gabriel was like the most probably, I think, one of the most difficult people to tame. Because, I mean, he's Gabriel. He's a archangel. Why wouldn't he be difficult? So it's like, what was anybody supposed to do if against the Divine Council? So, after the Divine Council was formed, 2 major events happened in Hell. What happened in Hell, you may ask? Well, these 2 events I will explain. The 2 events were the Lust Renaissance and the Greed Insurrection. The Lust Renaissance was held by Minos, the previous judge of Hell. Minos was in charge of deciding whether humanity should go to heaven or whether they should go to hell. Eventually, he gained sympathy for humanity, especially those who fell victim to lust. He thought that humans shouldn't be punished for loving someone. And this decision was probably one of the worst he could make. Well, it was good for a while, but not in the long run. What ended up happening was he decided to turn lust, which was once a wasteland, into this thriving city that you see below me. This thriving city housed a lot of sinners, which was totally fair. I mean, I want to live here too, in a place where there's like punishment everywhere. There's like a little thriving city. I would love to be here. But Heaven didn't like this. So, I bet you're probably waiting for me to say this, but Gabriel, the Divine Archangel, was sent down into Hell to basically clean this mess up. Was sent to clean this mess up. What was this mess, you may ask? Well, this mess was the Lust Renaissance. Heaven did not care whether Minos drew sympathy. They did not care what he did. They did not care how he judged. Only thing they cared about was that sinners get the punishment that Heaven wanted. So the Holy Council sent down Gabriel. Oh my god, Gabriel, Ultrakill, I love you so much! I bet that's what y'all are all gonna call it. But Gabriel decapitated Minos. He took his head clean off, which killed Minos, as you'd probably expect. So, what is the Greed Insurrection? What is the Greed Insurrection? The Greed Insurrection was led by Sisyphus. My voice cracked there. Sisyphus, was the leader of greed at the time. He saw, like, all this stuff happening in lust, like the Renaissance and everything, and he was like, Minos, you're dumb. You shouldn't have made, like, a little thriving city. That only gets you punishment. So what he decided to do was, in the absence of heaven at the moment, he trained his own army, which is where the insurrectionists come from. The insurrectionists was a trained army by Sisyphus that were made to overthrow heaven. As you could probably guess, that did not go very well. Heaven, again, did not like that. You'll never believe what they did. They decapitated Sisyphus. You can even see his body in the tree. I know, it's so awesome. That's basically it. Those are the basic two main events that happened during the absence of the Holy Council. Now, this should be the final chapter of the lore video. I know I'm probably gonna miss out on a lot of this, but actually I should probably go ahead and talk about I should probably talk about I'm kidding. I'm going to talk about V1's expedition into hell at this point. So V1 is a blood-sustained machine invented by humans. I mean, of course it was. Who else could it have been invented by? I love Skeleton. But yes, a lot of this stuff just like happened, and V1 decided to show up like, me hungry, me want blood, me need blood. Like, blood for the V1 god. So V1 was Hungalele. He had no humans to get his blood from. He had no THR 1000 Earth Movers. He had no Benjamins. He didn't have any of that. So he was like, me hungry, me want blood? Me go to hell. And hell he went. As you see, we play as V1 in Ultrakill. I'm not going to kill any of you. We play as V1 in the events of Ultrakill. So V1 ended up kind of just going into hell and killing everything it saw. With its revolver, it ripped off the swords machine's arm and eventually gained the shotgun, which was pretty big advancement. I mean, of course, who wouldn't want a shotgun? Then, in Limbo, found the nail gun. The nail gun is, well, a nail gun. It rapid fires nails at said target, and it kills them. I mean, shotgun is pretty self-explanatory. We have one in real life. Shouldn't be that much of a rundown for it. I see you. So, V1 continued his expedition. This is where we see the first boss fight. First boss fight is, as you previously saw, V2. V2 was basically V1's brother. He was also made as a V, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm out of words here. Looks like one guy got crushed without me having to do anything. V1 fought V2, and as you saw me do earlier, he ripped off his arm and gave him an upper blasters. One of the best arms in the game, or arguably the best, besides the feedbacker, and you know it's the worst. I use it the most, but let's be honest with ourselves, the feedbacker is better because I mean, who doesn't like the cross and after getting this arm, V1 continued and continued. Eventually, he went into lust, as you see now. So V1 went into lust, or at the moment, where Minos kind of still had rule over, but Minos was already dead at this point. So, V1 ended up finding something else. Now, I'll wait until we get to that level, because I mean, I'm almost done with this one. Once I get to the next level, I'll show you what V1 ended up encountering. For now, just watch this sick Ultrakill gameplay. I'm kidding, I'm not going to bore you. V1 encountered the corpse of Minos. And this thing was huge, because what I previously neglected to say was that V1 had done the reasonable thing. Or no, not V1. The hell beings had done the reasonable thing and fed Minos skull parasites. I know, yummy. So they took the place of his eyes, causing them to glow an unnatural white. And the skull parasites were, as you assumed, pretty detrimental to Minos. What they did was, instead of, like, carrying on anything he wanted to do, they made him scout out sinners to punish, because these parasites wanted nothing more than violence. Because I mean, Ultrakill! That was stupid. These guys ended up turning Minos into this. Come on, buddy, no need to be shy. This is just his hand, by the way. We'll fight the full body later on. For now, just watch me kill this hand. But that's basically the main thing of that. And eventually, which you'll see after this boss fight, we go into Gluttony. Gluttony has some really big things in it. From Gabriel to... I'm not gonna say that one just yet. But V1 fought Gabriel, and then the cycle repeated. Gabriel lost the Father's light, which means he would die in approximately 24 hours. So Gabriel ventured into hell, kill V1. Because I mean, why wouldn't he? I'd be mad too if a dirty clanker made me, like, lose my position and make me, like, basically die. So he did that. He lost again, and during that, Gabriel had some really big character development. And what did he do, you may ask? He killed the Holy Council. And the Holy Council was very dead. He decapitated them, showed off their heads. That's basically it. And that's the main thing we've got to now. Besides, well, V1 fighting Benjamin. Then we go to the P levels. The long course I don't think are canon, so I won't be counting those. The P levels feature both Sisyphus Prime and Minos Prime. We'll be going over Minos first. Minos, I've already told you about. Minos was this, like, old king guy. You know him. He couldn't stand watching this happen to his kingdom. He couldn't. So he turned into this thing called a crime soul, which happens when a person's will is so strong that, like, they can't stand to see what's happening to them. They just... Oh, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. They end up, like, just crashing out and turning into a prime soul. This happened to Minos. Minos became, well, a prime soul. Entered Minos Prime. Minos Prime was Minos Prime. Free at last. O Gabriel, now dawns thy reckoning. Thy goal shall glisten before the temples of man. Creature of sin. My gratitude upon thee for my freedom, but the crimes thy kind has committed against humanity are not forgotten. And thy punishment is like death or something. That's the whole shtick of it. Of his speech. Only his speech. So you fight Minos. You kill Minos. Minos is now fully dead. And then the same thing happens with Sisyphus. Oh yeah, I neglected to mention the Flesh Panopticon and the Flesh Prison. You fight the Flesh Prison and the Flesh Panopticon before, fighting Minos and Sisyphus. Blah 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 blah. You know, the basic stuff. And dang, I actually finished this video surprisingly short. I expected it to take much longer. Well, I'm done. That was the Ultrakill Lore of Ultrakill. I really hope you like this. It's not a lot, especially the P levels, since, I mean, I haven't completed the P levels yet. So, without further ado, goodbye, and remember, in a world where you can be anything,